Forward!
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go.
Forward!
Hard work, hard work, hard work.
Fall in. Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Y'all know what it is. It's me, your boy Trey. And you're rocking with the favorite vets in the next first formation morning sports talk. So come on and fall in with us as we get to talking about sports as the baseline. But we could have any type of conversation. It just depends on where the tide takes us. I hope everyone's having a gracious morning, gracious day. Just one day closer to the weekend. Today is Hump Day, Wednesday. I hope everyone's enjoying their week so far. Having a good time, enjoying life. So, of course, before we get started, yesterday it was an unfortunate situation as the NBA lost one of their pioneers in Willis Reed. Of course, Willis Reed passing at the age of 80. If you knew of Willis Reed, of course, uh, like I said, he was a pioneer. The only player to help the New York Knicks to their only two NBA championships. Rookie of the Year in 1965, Most Valuable Player in 1970, seven-time All-Star, five-time NBA Pro, also a member of the NBA's 50th and 75th anniversary teams. He may continue to be a member of those teams for years to come. Maybe the 100th, maybe the 125th, and maybe the 150 players of all time um, of those teams. Uh, of course, we know what is key. What it was known and talked about was the "Here Comes Willis Reed" by Marv Albert in the game that is called the Willis Reed game. In that game, in which it wasn't like he poured in a whole bunch of points. Good morning, Alita. What's going on? Glad to see you information with us this morning. Hope your day is going pretty good. But the Willis Reed game, it wasn't a game in which he poured in 40 or 50 points in that game 7 versus the Los Angeles Lakers and Wilt Chamberlain to where he just was unstoppable. It was the fact that their captain, their emotional tether, pulled up to a game in which he was injured and it was game 7. It was a game in which it wasn't him that pulled out the most points, but it was just the 2 points in the first beginning of the game that gave that emotional push and propelled them to a victory, winning their first NBA championship against the uh, foe, the Los Angeles Lakers. Additionally, Willis Reed, number 19, retired by the Knicks in 76. That's 40 years ago, 47 years ago, roughly. He was minted into the Hall of Fame in 1982. And then, of course, held some positions, head coaching job with the Knicks for just a year. Later spent 4 years with as a head coach of University of Creighton. Then later went on to work in the then New Jersey Nets front office as a general manager, then the senior president of basketball operations. He also had a stint with the Atlanta Falcons. Correction, I don't know why I said Falcons. Atlanta Hawks. Sorry about that. Position with the Atlanta Hawks, just assistant coach position, in which he coached now Philadelphia 76ers head coach Doc Rivers during his playing days. So Willis Reed, definitely, like I said, a pioneer amongst the NBA players. A sad moment from yesterday, and perishing at the age of 80. But his memory will go on and continue to be remembered from now into basketball eternity. So condolences, of course, to his family as they have to deal with laying him to rest. But in other news and conversation, some celebratorily or things that are momentous, another moment in time, the WBC, of course, you know it as the World Baseball Classic, started out a little shaky for Team USA, but they were able to right the ship enough to have an opportunity to appear in the championship versus none other than Japan, in which the closing moments of the game was something in which you would think movies was made of. Top of the ninth, 2 outs, 1 run game in hand for the Japan squad. Whom other comes up to the plate but all-star, big bat, heavy swing, Mike Trout. But who does he face? His teammate, but now foe, hot Cy Young winner, got the bat to match Shohei Ohtani, his teammate, to face at the from the mound. Of course, when it was all said and done, Ohtani would be mobbed by his teammates, jumping up and down, patting on their head, jubilee all over the field as Mike Trout and Team USA walked back to the dugout with their heads down, having to wait for another year, another term to play in the WBC as Ohtani K's Mike Trout for a 3-2 victory versus Team USA, winning this year's World Baseball Classic in grand fashion. Shout out, congratulations to Japan as they get the dub. We'll see you next time. So as they get ready to get started, as we know, April's coming up on us. You're getting ready to get it popping with the MLB right ready, back in effect. Have an opportunity for Houston, the Astros, to defend yet another World Series title. Do they make it back to the game again? Does someone else have an opportunity to stand in their way? Remains to be seen. It's about to get it popping all over again. Baseball, we know towards the end, we get into the end of March, just a couple of weeks before we know who is the 2023 NCAA men's and women's champion this year. Of course, a heavy thought that it could be Houston, Alabama, Gonzaga in some cases. In the women's, we all know that all the money, all the marbles are betting on Dawn Staley and her South Carolina Gamecocks to walk away with a championship. But others might have something to say about that. In any case, we know someone has to be crowned, and it could be anyone. I know I was looking at something just the other day where it was talking about the men's NCAA championship, and it was just a brief synopsis of who has been picked and who has won in the case. And there's not really too much meshing of the two. You always have the only two teams in the last 4 years, I think, has been to win, who have been picked to win versus have won, has been the Jayhawks and University of North Carolina. And I think those were, if I could remember, I think those numbers were basically the Jayhawks. No, not Jayhawks. It was the Villanova. It was Villanova and UNC. Of course, Villanova won in 2018. Well, we know they won in 2016 and 18, but they won in 2018. There was a 17 and a half people had picked them. 17.5% of the brackets was chosen them as the champions, and they won. And then additionally, the year before, University of North Carolina was chosen as the champions at 14.5%, and they won. But every other time it has been an immense outshowing. Of course, last year Gonzaga was expected to win. They had 30% of the brackets have them as being the winner, and then they end up not even making it to the Final Four. I mean, to the championship game, and 7.8% Kansas was the winner. Additionally, the year before that, 2021, Gonzaga again was expected to be the champion. That particular day, they did make it to that year. They were in the championship, playing against the Baylor Bears, in which Baylor knocked them off, and had only 8%. Was only chosen about 8% to win the championship, while Gonzaga was a 38% selection. Then even a year later, the Duke Blue Devils, 39% of the brackets was chosen as them winning, in which the Virginia University of Virginia ended up winning that year. It was only 5% chosen to win, pick them. So we can expect most of those percentages come from their hometown favorites, in a sense, where if an individual believes they know basketball, even if you have a hometown favorite, you might go ahead and choose against them if you think differently, in which this was the outcome. And so it's a whole different type of vibe, of course, a different type looking at it. And so we go on. We know that's coming up. Those games get back going on Thursday, Sweet 16. And then it continues on from there until the end of the beginning of the first week in March. So we'll see how that ends up coming out. So hopefully, if your team is still in, I'm very sure everyone's back bracket is busted. But if your team is still in, then that's I guess that's one thing to cheer about, as opposed to looking and just knowing that, yep, we gotta wait another year. That'd be the most. You know what? When I sit up and think about it, as a sports fan, especially a sports fan of your favorite teams, of your teams, and then your teams are pretty good, they have an opportunity to win championships. Does it become more of an issue when you look at the fact that that said team can get to the conference final or even the championship of a particular sport and not win? Wouldn't you just rather that team not make it to the finals, and if if they don't have a chance to win, kind of like that, fizzle out a little earlier, get something for your for your woes to make it a better situation. I know, of course, everything is always, you never know, but in some cases we do know. And as a fan, you have to sit through that type of stuff. I continue to tell the story. Remember sitting and watching the USC Trojans fall to the University of Texas and having to sit through and watch that as I vaulted Matt Leinart, Lindell White, Reggie Bush fell to Texas. 4th and 2, take Reggie Bush out the game, and everyone knows that it's going to Wendell White. No Reggie Bush to sit up and think, okay, maybe this is going to go a different way. He's on the sideline. Who else is it going to? 4th and 2. I had to watch that. I had to watch the Super Bowl. Colin Kaepernick was getting drugged by the Baltimore Ravens defense, just to come back and not to be able to complete not one, not or two passes in the back of the end zone to Crabtree. In any case, Randy Moss is sitting on the other side of the field, wide open. I had to endure that. Then to come just a few years later to watch Jimmy Garoppolo miss a wide open receiver in the Super Bowl after losing a 10-point lead. And then the final 2 years, just 2 years back to back to watch them go out game in hand, sure-hand defensive back to drop a sure-handed interception that could have sent them to the Super Bowl, just to watch them lose to the Rams, and the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl that year, and to come back the very next year with a quarterback by committee, get to the NFC Championship on a third-string quarterback, just to watch said third-string quarterback get injured in the first quarter and then all that dwindle out because we couldn't move the ball with our fourth string practice squad QB. To endure that type of stuff is gut wrenching, and to see it go on continuously, and knowing that you can get there but can't close the deal for whatever reason. Unfortunate. But in any case, I digress. Let's get into some of this NBA conversation, as we had a slate of 6 games last night. A couple, as we discussed before, with some implications are setting the tone for these teams as they come down the stretch 10 to 9 games remaining before closing out the season. First, we'll kick it off. Orlando Magic hosted the Washington Wizards. The Magic tapped in 22-point scorer by Gary Harris, 2 rebounds to go along with that. 18 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists from Paolo Banchero, who is expected to be this year's Rookie of the Year. Wendell Carter Jr., 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists. 17 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists from Markelle Fultz. 20 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists from Franz Wagner. His brother Moritz continued with 15 points, 3 rebounds. Cole, 16.7 rebounds, 5 assists, as the Orlando Magic score 122, knocking off the Washington Wizards by the score of 112. The Wizards was led by Kristaps Porzingis, 30.6 rebounds and 3 assists, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists for Bradley Beal, a double-double for Demi Adjava with 15 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. Monte Morris contributed 14 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists. Corey Kispert, 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, as well as Daniel Gafford with 12 points, 3 rebounds. Kyle Kuzma was not in play. Kendrick Nunn did contribute 3 points on the night, but it wasn't enough. As we say, Orlando Magic move up to 30 and 43. Just 9 games remaining. Washington Wizards, 32 and 40. Not looking too good for that team. What's good, Coach Cal? What's going on this morning? Glad to see you in formation. Hope everything is going good for you, brother. Hope your morning's going pretty good. Week, month, year, all that good stuff. Moving on to the next game, of course, then Cleveland Cavaliers, hosted by the Brooklyn Nets, in a game that was needed. I think that was 1 versus 5 in the standings. Not as close, as tight a race as it is in the West, but in any case, like I said, major implications for the Nets. Leading scorer, Day'Ron Sharpe, 20 points, 11 rebounds, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist from Mikal Bridges. Spencer Dinwiddie contributed with 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 11 assists on the night. 13 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists from Nick Claxton. Cameron Johnson, 16 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Dorian Smith, 5 points, 2 rebounds, and no assists. And Joe Harris, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. For the Cavaliers, it was led by Donovan Mitchell, 31 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. 17 points apiece from Darius Garland and Evan Mobley. 4 rebounds and 3 assists from Mobley. Garland contributed with 1 rebound, 6 assists. Karis LeVert, 18 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists from C.D. Osman. Isaac Okoro, 3 rebounds, 2 assists on the night. Ricky Rubio, 8 points, 1 assist on the night. And all for the win as Cleveland Cavaliers get the dub 115 to 109, 46 and 28 on the year. That helps them immensely. That's Brooklyn 39 and 33, keeping their spot as the 5th seed. But a loss isn't the best. I think they just happen to be a part of a conference that isn't as competitive as the West. But I mean, it's competition is just not the same. As we know, in the West, from 4 to 13 is vying for a spot, to where in the East is a little bit easier, a little simpler. It continues on, of course, as the Pistons hosted the Hawks hosted Detroit Pistons. The Pistons basically just playing this time to finish out their record. What's good morning, TT? What's going on? Glad to have you from Merchant. Hope your day is going well. Atlanta Hawks basically playing against the Pistons. Like I said, at this point, just playing to finish out their season to see where they fall as getting the lottery. Currently, as the standings go, they would be the team with the most ping pong balls to be added to the mix. Last night game, Killian Hayes dropped 21 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists. Not to outdone the leading scorer, Marvin Bagley III, 31 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist. James Wiseman, 6 points, 5 rebounds, 17 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists for Jaden Ivey. Corey Joseph contributed with 12 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 7 points, 4 rebounds. Rodney McGruder, 9 points for R.J. Hampton. For the Hawks, they was led by Trae Young's double-double, 30 points, 3 rebounds, 12 assists. Double-double from Kent Capella, 12 rebounds, 16 assists. 15 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist from John Collins. DeAndre Hunter contributed with 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. 11 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist from A.J. Griffin. 14 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist with the double-double for Saddiq Bey. Bogdanovich contributed 18 points, 1 rebounds, 3 assists. As the Hawks get the W, 129-107. With that win, they become 500 on the year with the opportunity to stay in, keep in the play-in, for an opportunity to get into the playoffs. So we continue to keep an eye on the Atlanta Hawks as they look to turn it around. Now they have a new coach in place, and he's looking to put them in position to play in the playoffs and compete for a championship. Another West Coast battle put the New Orleans Pelicans as the hosts against the San Antonio Spurs. And of course, what we think should happen will happen. The Spurs trying to do their best to sit up and be a competitive squad. Sandro Markashvili, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists on the night, 15 points apiece from Trey Jones and Devontae Graham. 5 rebounds, 8 assists for Jones, 2 rebounds, 1 assist for Devontae Graham. 12 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist from Keop Bates-Diop. And then it kind of ends there. 5 points, Doug McDermott. Julian Champagne, 6 points, 2 points, Blake Wesley. 5 points from Malik Blandon. Romeo Langford contributed 2 rebounds, 2 assists. But the Pelicans turned it up a little bit. Brandon Ingram, 32 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists on the night, 19 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists from Jonas Valanciunas, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. CJ McCollum, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists from Josh Richardson. Contributions from Kira Lewis with 2 points. Will Herman Gomez, 7 points, 4 points from Larry Nance Jr. Najee Marshall, 8 points. Josh Richardson, 10 points. Herb Williams, 4 points. It all adds up 119-84, gets the W for the New Orleans Pelicans. Of course, with that win, they are just 2 games below 500 as we come to the latter of the season. Just 10 games remaining on their schedule as they get down towards the end of it. For the Spurs, of course, with the loss, they dropped to 19-53 on the year. We already know they're going to be sitting at home. In the case of Coach Cal, he'll say already reserving their the tickets and the rooms in Cancun, part of the advance party, getting ready and just sip and kind of like relaxing before they come back and try it all over again for the 2024 season. 2 more games left from last night. Of course, the Western Conference Sacramento Kings, 3rd in the West, hosted the 2nd-seeded Boston Celtics as they look to have the cross-conference game. Of course, it do work the world to Sacramento if they could get the W, as they are chasing the Memphis Grizzlies for that 2nd spot in the West. Even though maybe it doesn't matter where they're at in that position, the Boston Celtics currently chasing the Milwaukee Bucks in the East. The Kings was led by a triple-double, yet another triple-double from Montas Sabonis, 16 points, 13 rebounds, 2 assists, 18 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists for De'Aaron Fox. Keegan Murray with 15 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 13 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist from Davion Mitchell. Terrence Davis contributed with 12 points, 4 rebounds. Kessler Edwards, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Harrison Barnes, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. And 5 points from Rashawn Holmes, 3 from Chizi Metu and Matthew Dellavedova with 2 points on the in the game in which they faced off against the Celtics. Jason Tatum, 36 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists as he keeps up a lot to be the front runner and winner of the MVP this year. 27 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists from Jaylen Brown. 20 points, 7 rebounds, 11 assists. Derek White, 17 points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists. Mark is smart. 4 points from Malcolm Brogdon, 6 from Grant Williams. Robin Williams, the third, contributed with 6 points as well. And then bringing up the rear, 2 points from Luke Kornet. Sam Hauser, 3 points. Al Horford, 11 points. As we crown the Boston Celtics winner of this game. What's good, Mike? How you doing, brother? What's going on with you this morning? I hope everything is going well. I know you have your work cut out for you. Got to get ready to announce those invites, or got the invites sent out, I hope, and everyone we get to look at and see who gets invited, who accepts, and how's it going down for the National Military Basketball Tournament. But in case the Boston Celtics get the dub, winning 132-109 in grand fashion. With that dub, they become yet another team that hits the 50-win mark for the season. We know, of course, it was done by the Milwaukee Bucks, in which the Milwaukee Bucks, or a team that has hit 50 wins in the season, has a pretty good chance, historically, as data reveals, of winning the championship. We should see how it comes out this year. As we know, Milwaukee was the first team to 50 this year. The Celtics follow it up. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, 50-23 on the year with 9 games remaining. We'll see how it goes. On the opposite side of the spectrum, 43-29 for the Sacramento Kings. They have 10 games remaining, and we'll see how they finish off the year, chasing the Nuggets and the Grizzlies for the final spot. For that top spot in the West. And last but not least, the Oklahoma City Thunder were visiting Crypto.com Arena. Not for the Lakers, though. The other team across the hall, the Los Angeles Clippers, in which it was actually a pretty good game. I was hoping the outcome would have a little bit different, but it didn't. We had to deal with it. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook. Kawhi Leonard, 21.6 rebounds, 5 assists on the night. Russell Westbrook, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. Paul George, 18.7 rebounds, 5 assists. 13 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist from Ivica Zubac. Marcus Morris Sr. contributes 7 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. 8 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist from Terrence Mann. Plumlee, 6 points, 12 rebounds, 1 assist. Nicholas Batum, 5 points. Eric Gordon, 5 points, 2 rebounds. And Robert Covington, 2 points, 2 rebounds. For the Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 31.7 rebounds, 1 assist. Josh Giddey, 13.6 rebounds, 6 assists. Isaiah Joe, 12 points, 3 rebounds. 20 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists from Jalen Williams. Lou Dort, 7.6 rebounds, 1 assist. Jalen Williams, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. 3 points from Monse Dwayne. And Lindy Waters, the third, 3 points, 2 rebounds with 2 assists. As we look at that ending score, 101-100. The Clippers get edged out by the Oklahoma City Thunder. With that win, Oklahoma gets back to 36 on the year, 500. The Clippers holding on to a 3-game advantage of just above 500. But in the glimpse of it all, Terrence Mann gets tossed out, ejected. Kawhi Leonard receives his 4th ever technical foul, and we see Trace. If you don't know him as Trace, you know him as PG. Paul George go down in the 4th quarter with an apparent right leg injury. As we all know, Paul George was out extensively after during a intramural game in versus Team USA before the tune up to the Olympics 2 Olympics ago. Now he leaves yet again, uh, not knowing there was no record or it wasn't recorded or spoke about yet about what happened or how it happened. If you look at the game, he looked like he went up for a rebound or finishing the play. And he seemed to have bumped knees with Lou Dort. And when he came down awkwardly and buckled and went to the ground, down for a little bit. Reports came back. Kawhi Leonard was like he didn't realize what had happened. He thought he had got hit in the face and fell. He stayed down on the ground, like I said, for a little bit and ended up having to be helped off the floor and helped back to the end through the tunnels, and additionally carted from the locker room to the back dock, in which they waited for an ambulance to come by and pick him up. Still no current reports on what has happened or what is going on. But when you look at it, of course, like you said, the games have to continue to go on. They're in the middle of a heated playoff race. When you look at it, that's why they bring up players in this caliber of Russell Westbrook and things to basically be able to offset the fact that if you lose one of your players. In this case, you have Kawhi Leonard that's left. We know Kawhi Leonard has a propensity to go down as well at times. So in this case, I think it works out for Russell Westbrook because this is what he's made for in this sense. Where if he's the only person that has to go get it, he has the ability to go get it. So it might not be as dismal as it looked for the Clippers, at least not during this regular season, but it's probably going to get ugly for them come the playoffs. Okay, all sent out and most have confirmed, waiting on a few more confirmations. Okay. That's what's up. About how many have confirmed? We know as a team, it was only could be a week of 16. I mean, a team, 16 teams. Can we get a peek and know how many confirmed that they were coming, so we can deduct the rest and know what it is or have an idea of what it is? Just asking for a friend. That's all. So that was the games from last night. Of course, if you look at the standings, keeping it in perspective, 10 slots. 10 slots is all they got for this tournament, which is actually, when you think of it, all major league championship playoffs are based 13 confirmed. Okay, 13 confirmed. So just waiting on 3. That's what's up. 3 teams. Can't wait to hear how that's going down. Matter, I'm gonna have to hit you up about what we spoke about to see if that when we could possibly make that happen. But 3 teams left for the National Military Basketball Tournament to confirm. So if those 3 teams don't confirm, Mike, do they get replaced by the next team up, or do you just go ahead and put and select buys, randomly select buys in areas, or do you find the next 3 teams to compete in the tournament? Speaking of tournaments, like I was saying, what we realize is most teams compete. All championships are tournament based for the most part. Different formats, but all tournament based. As currently for the Eastern Conference for their tournament in the NBA's championship, they're the front runner with a 2-game lead over the Boston Celtics, who are number 2. At number 3, the 76ers bring it up 1 game behind the Celtics at the 3rd seed. At the 4th seed, the Cleveland Cavaliers hold strong with their win last night, just adding another pillow feather, I guess you could say. The New York Knicks come in at the 5th spot, 10 games behind the Bucks. The Miami Heat hold firm the Jets hold firm at the 6th spot, but they have the Miami Heat hot on their trails. Of course, they got that loss last night. That puts it now they're a half game in front of the Heat. The Atlanta Hawks, with their win, puts them just 3 games behind the Brooklyn Nets. 2.5 games behind the Heat. So it's looking kind of comfortable currently for them. They have until 1200 on Friday. Then their slots will be filled by the next highest. Got you, Coach. Appreciate it. Thank you for that insight. So, of course, the 3 teams out there, got to confirm. If you can't confirm, you're going to lose your spot. Got to get your confirmation in there. 1,200 hours on Friday, just a day and a half away. The Hawks, like I said, kind of the Heat. I think between Heat and Nets, kind of safe right now. The Raptors coming at the 9th spot, and the Bulls currently sit at the 10th spot, 2.5 games ahead of the Pacers and the Wizards, who are chasing them. Not yet to be outdone yet. The Magic sit just 5.5 games behind as many as the eighth seeded Atlanta Hawks. So is at this point, it's kind of you can kind of say in the sense that it's still got an opportunity uh, for the Bulls to be overtaken 5 games ahead of the Magic currently. So it looks like it could potentially come down to the wire before we get a couple of those the 11 through 13 to be scratched when it comes down to the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, a completely different story, as we continue to say, which has been continuous throughout the course of, saying, for historically, when we look at the Western Conference, always a battle in some way, form, or fashion. Currently, the Denver Nuggets are the front runner with the 3.5 game lead over the Memphis Grizzlies, in which we're going to talk about in a second. The Sacramento Kings have a 2.5 games. Well, correction, 1.5 games back from the Grizzlies in that second spot, but they're in the third currently. The Suns bring it up at the 4th spot. At the 5th spot with the loss last night, the Los Angeles Clippers currently a game behind the Suns, with the Warriors just a game behind them for that 5th spot. The Warriors at the 6th spot, a half game ahead of the Thunder. So it's getting pretty interesting. The Mavericks a half game behind the Warriors as well for the 6th spot. The Timberwolves just 1 game behind the Warriors for that 6th spot. The Jazz and the Timberwolves both at that point a game behind. Is getting a little heated. Then of course you have the Los Angeles Lakers and the Pelicans tied at the 11th and 12th seed with 13 games behind the top seeded Nuggets, but they're not going to catch them because they have the games are too few, but they can catch the Jazz in the a half game behind them, and the Timberwolves at the 9th spot, and just 1 game behind the Thunder and Mavericks at the 7th and 8th, and even just a game and a half behind the Warriors at the 6th. And you just take it a little further, just 2.5 games behind the Clippers. It's a whole vibe going on. The Trailblazers is bringing up the rear. They kind of it's kind of getting iffy, but they are just 5 games out of this the 6th seed with 11 games remaining on their season. So 11 games remaining. So it's getting kind of hot and spicy in the West. It could go any way. The Clippers should slide with the PG injury. Phoenix could slide 10 of 11 versus 10 of 11 versus plays team. 10 in 11. Okay, I see you. OKC has 6 of their final 10 versus the playoff teams. You're right, Coach Cal. It can go any way at this point. With that being said, we can talk about what's up. Of course, 10 games slated for tomorrow. For tonight. That, of course, have some of the same implications which we discussed. First and foremost, the Denver Nuggets first off against the Washington Wizards in Washington. We can expect that game is probably going to go one particular way, but maybe it's not. The Nuggets did have an opportunity to capitalize, but in the case of all that, they ended up not being able to capitalize. We know they did go on a 4 or 5 game losing streak just a week or two ago. That kind of like put them in striking distance for the Memphis Grizzlies as well as the Sacramento Kings. In the game tonight, the Dallas Mavericks get the Golden State Warriors a second time around this week as they get ready to face off. Of course, a game that can separate even one. put the Mavericks in the 6th seed in the solidified playoff position, or give a little cushion to the Warriors, allowing for other teams to probably catch or jump the Mavericks. The New York Knicks and the Miami Heat get to play tonight. The Heat with a dub could put them solidified, could probably move themselves up into a 6th seed, a 6th spot, and push the Nets down to the 7th, making it a little bit harder for that organization. Additionally, the Toronto Raptors and the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers are almost out, looking to get that circle on the left side of the name in the standings, which basically means they are eliminated from contention. But it remains to be seen. The Memphis Grizzlies face off against the Houston Rockets. We know the Houston Rockets has become a hot team of late, winning a couple of games that they probably should have lost, showing that they had that grit and grind still continuing on. They face off against the Grizzlies tonight in Memphis, in the game in which Ja Morant could potentially come back, as he discussed and talked about. He is still kind of recovering. It's going to be a process for him to be able to work over his stresses. That's what he said his ailment was. He's like the ways of finding to deal with his stress. So he's like, that's going to continue on. He looks to change some things as far as his nightlife activity, his how much access he gives people to his life off the basketball court, and even looking to potentially come off the bench while he kind of like builds back up to what his norm is. So the first test for him, the Houston Rockets, not the best of tests, I guess, depending on which Rockets team you get. If we get the Rockets team that played against the Lakers, and the New Orleans Pelicans, you might have some problems for the Grizzlies. If not, they get the Rockets team that just played against the Pelicans the other night. It might be easy work, but they do face off tonight with the Grizzlies' opportunity to get some separation. The Spurs and the Bucks. I don't even know why this is a game going on. But in any case, we never know. The Spurs might be able to put a rabbit out their hat. They face off tonight in Milwaukee. The Bulls and 76ers do battle. Bulls being the hosting squad. Opportunity to maybe get a dub and move up a little in the standings, as opposed to sitting at that 10 spot, which is kind of dangerous. I think that 10 to the 6 are the spots in which you don't want to be in, especially when you got people sitting behind you that's hot on you. You can feel them breathing on your neck. Not the best spots to be in, but this is what gives excitement to the playoffs. You can't just be the 7th or 8th anymore, and you got to sit up and fight for the right to play. What's Cal said, the Grizzlies might have the breathing room they need to lock up the 2 seed. Mavs are at home versus Golden State. We need to avoid the play-in by all means. I feel you, Coach Cal, and that's where I'm at. We chasing y'all. Y'all trying to stay there. We chasing y'all. And if we see tonight, definitely gives some separation. What's good? Stanton, glad to see you in formation this morning with his brother. Hope you're having a good day, a good morning. The Hawks, back-to-back, take on the Timberwolves in a game to which they potentially can get back both Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns, the big cat himself, possibly being able to make it reappear for this season after missing 52 games with the injury. Again, they're in a position. The Hawks need a position. A game of loss to either one of these teams can potentially put a damper in where they currently sit. As we stated before, the Timberwolves are in prime position to be able to take over the 6th seed, or maybe even to take over the 6th seed with a win and a Golden State loss, as well as a Golden State loss. They can move up to the 6th seed, or they can have some separation with as well with the Mavericks winning. So at this point, this game is going to be a litmus test on where is that by the end of the night. There might be some shifting in the bottom portion of the Western Conference standings, because you got 2 other teams. The Utah Jazz will be hosting the Portland Trailblazers. That makes a difference tonight. And then, of course, the Los Angeles Lakers to host the Phoenix Suns, who also need to get a dub tonight. So there's a lot going on. We have to see by the end of the night, come 10, 11 o'clock tonight, we'll be able to say, hey, this is where we stand. This is where we lie for the Western Conference. So it's getting pretty juicy. We'll see how that ends up going. Of course, you know where I'm at. I love the Hawks to get the W, the Blazers to get the W, the Lakers to get their W. And between the Mavericks and Warriors, it's a toss-up. Any one of those could lose. It doesn't make a difference. Either one of them losing helps us out. But actually, I would like the Mavericks to lose. Or the Warriors. Correction, the Warriors. Because the Warriors losing, we have the tiebreaker over the Warriors. So I'm for all for that. Seth going for 45 and the look out. Crying Jordan for Coach Cal on this page. Coach Cal, we gonna see the crying Jordan face if the Mavericks lose yet another one. No, is Kyrie? I don't think Kyrie's playing tonight, is he? Without Luka, can the Mavericks beat a Luka-less? Beat the Warriors without Luka and Kyrie Irving? Do they have enough? Jaden Hardy, Hardaway Jr. Is that enough? Christian Wood, is that enough? Can they take care of business without their two All-Stars? Can Coach Kidd coach into a dub with the missing out? Kyrie is gonna pitch through. If not, hopefully Kidd is smart enough to leave Hardy in the game. Again, it all comes out tonight. We'll be able to take a look and see how this ends up playing out for the Mavericks in their rubber band match. Run it back. What else do I have? Cat coming back. We just discussed that. So I have a question, right? What do y'all think is going to happen with Jaylen Brown? As we know, he is coming up on a contract year. He's in the contract year. Do we see a situation where Jaylen Brown might decide he wants to take his talents elsewhere? Or do we see a situation to where he decides, I think we got a good thing going in Boston, I'm staying here? I would even say, like, if Boston was able to win a championship this year, does that make a clear and defined factor where Jaylen Brown's like, I'm posting up, I'm good, we're staying right here? Jaylen Brown to ATL. I wonder. That might be pretty. I don't know. That would be a lot of shifting. Like, do they move him or DeJounte to the 3? Like that? What's that? Or move him to the 3? I don't know. But in case, or even as I was about to say, do we see a situation to where if Jaylen Brown was to, if they, like I say, Boston was to win the championship, does he stay or does he go? Like, he can win the championship and be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I got my W. We just gonna go ahead and keep it moving. I'm gonna go ahead and keep moving. I won me a championship. Now it's time for me to go on somewhere else to see if I can get a championship there. Or like Coach Cal said, does he continue? Does he move on and decides you like, know what? I'm gonna take my talent somewhere else to see what I do. I'm going back home, play for the home squad, team up with Trae Young, John Collins, Bogdanovich. Yeah, I don't think he's going to if he does stay, go home to the Kings. So, you know what, Lonzo, that might not be a bad idea. So I was initially thinking about the Atlanta thing, but I don't think it's enough. It's not enough balls to go around there, especially with them chasing after Bogdanovich. They're not. It wouldn't be suitable for them to be able to get him there. They have too many there already. But the idea of the Kings might go a whole different, like teaming him up and putting him in. It's room, I would say, for him to be to engage there. True, I don't think so either. He said, I really don't think he likes it there in terms of the sea, just like Kawhi in Toronto. If he checks off the box to get a ring, it may make the decision easier to leave. I agree with you, Coach Cal. I think that would be the situation for the most part too. Basically, if he's that ring is what you want. So if you're in prime position to get a ring, which is most likely the ideally the dream of every player, regardless of what the sport you play in, to basically get a championship at the professional level. If he gets that ring, if he doesn't, like you said, he doesn't particularly care for the city, yeah, it might be he gets the ring, it might be like, you know what, I'm good. I can go ahead. I've already stamped that on my pass in my game passport off to the next, in which somewhere like Sacramento might be ideal. Of course, not to say that they would, but the Lakers are always an organization that may open the doors, give them a key to the city, and be like, come pull up. A couple of other different areas. So I think that to be true as well, Coach Cal, that if he gets a ring in this year, he might leave, depending what they're offering. If they're trying to give him, I don't know if he'll be a player for on an All Pro, All NBA team. If he gets that, then he has opportunity to get a Supermax deal. So it remains to be seen. We'll see how it goes. If who will be able to pay him for his services at the end of the year to make him want to walk away from Boston in any case, whether they win the Super Bowl, whether they win a championship or not. He said Boston isn't getting a ring, so it's very hypothetical. They may not. I mean, we never know. They turned it on late in the year last year just to fall to a game because I didn't expect Golden State to get the ring either, but they showed the moxie for the fourth ring in this era. I don't know. It can go any way. Who you think? Who you pulling for, Coach? Cal? Who's your dark horse to win the championship this year? I mean, your dark horse is probably Dallas. Who do you think is going to walk away right now if you had to say they would be champions? Milwaukee, Denver, which I don't think you think Denver. I don't think too many people think Denver except for Denver Nuggets fans. And then maybe not even them thinking. Let me see. Where do we outside the Mass, the Bucks? Okay. Milwaukee. Okay. No Philly. Let me see. Where do we go? So, in the NFL, there's been some Harden will fold. Okay. They say Harden, he's going to be the reason why they don't go. All right, I got you, Coach. So, transition a little bit. And, Coach, of course, Dallas is always in the news in one way or another. And it's no different now. Of course, as we know, the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL have been making some move. I don't know if they're the best move or the right moves, but they're moves. Yesterday, they signed Ronald Jones II to a 1-year deal. I got a particular affinity for Ronald Jones, a former Trojan alumni. He was picked up in the second round by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, played 4 years for the Buccaneers, in which he won the championship with the Buccaneers, goes and signs a 1-year deal last year with the Kansas City Chiefs, sat in a crowded running back room behind Pacheco, Kendrick, and Hilaire. But in any case, he picks up another Super Bowl ring, and now he goes and signs the 1-year deal to be a running mate currently with Tony Pollard, who is on the franchise tag in Dallas to $10 million. Additionally, the Cowboys also pick up some wide receiver help, possibly. I don't know. As they bring Brandon Cooks, speedster extraordinaire, into the fold to team up with CeeDee Lamb. I would say Noah, but Noah's left. But they do still have Gallup. So not a bad receiver room. I'm very sure they're going to probably look to add some pieces there. Restructure some contracts to make some room. Bring back DJ Fowler, Dante Fowler Jr. He's back in the fold. So they have all the players that amounted to their 56 sacks on the year last year, third most in the NFL. What can we think of from the Cowboys? Yes. He's a backup. They ran that passing Bijan. So, Cal, realistically, do you think Bijan Robinson will be available at 26? Or is the expectation that the Cowboys will move up to grab him? I don't think he's going to be available. Although they might put together a package for whoever drafts him to whoever picks him up to draft to trade some pieces to get him and then give them their draft pick. I don't know. It remains to be seen. But I don't think Bijan is going to be available for the Cowboys at any juncture unless it's a trade or unless that's them trading for him after he's selected or them moving up to get him. Yeah, see, okay, Cowboys can trade up. So you have that. So, I mean, of course, wishful thinking for all the Cowboy fans out there, wishful thinking, believing and hoping that they can do the right, make the right moves to get the right players. And that's every team for the most part when it comes down to is what's good, Leslie. Glad to have you formation this morning, brother. I hope everything is going right. Hope your morning is going pretty good. Last night, Cam Newton at the Pro Day. Cam made a bold statement, probably both literally and figuratively, for the most part. You still have money to pay Bobby Wagner. So are y'all going to go after Bobby or y'all going to leave him there? Okay, you just said you want him to get. I don't think Bobby's going to Cowboys either, but it could be waiting for the dust to settle. You still got Bob. You got a couple of people that's connected to Bobby Wagner. I mean, to the Cowboys' names: Bobby Wagner, Odell Beckham, who both still sit on the free agency list, top free agents remaining. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Of course, it's going to probably be a situation where someone has to take a little pay cut or cut their expectations of what they feel like they should be getting paid. In any case, yesterday, Cam Newton's brother, Caitlin, decided to ask his brother to come and throw at their pro day. And in some cases, I guess depending on how you look at it, Cam didn't look too bad. But, however, one thing to keep in mind, the pro days and the combines are all showcased for your skills, but not in real time. So the last time we see Cam, he played in 2020 or 2021, I think it was, to where he was he played in 2021 to where he was he wasn't the best, I could say. 0-5 for the Carolina Panthers in his debut back for the second time. It didn't do too well. And that was in real time. But it was late in the year, which I think gives him a reprieve. But it wasn't real. It was in real time, and he didn't do too well. Yesterday in the pro day, he zipped the ball around pretty well, even showcasing what was his signature scramble, ability to move in the pocket, get around to find an open receiver. But again, it wasn't real time. The other intricacies that would go into that in the game wasn't there, i.e. what type of rush would you have got, what type of pressures would you been looking at, what the schemes would have been, and where defenders would have been in correlation to where he's putting the ball at for that receiver. Makes a world of difference when you're not playing against other bodies. But in any case, for the fact of the matter, he looked good. I asked, does anyone out there believe that Cam Newton is going to be able to parlay, let's even say that pro day, into a call or just someone watching, uh, wanting to have an opportunity to get into the fold and bring him in the fold and play? That is the question. Uh, I don't know at this point. We should see. In other news, the conversation came up. Big Ben Roethlisberger, uh, stated that the San Francisco 49ers reached out to him during last season to see and gauge his interest of coming back to play in the NFL, as they were needing some help at the position. Mm. Correct. And that all goes up to like what we were just talking about, Coach Cal, is it was a different in pro day. What can he do in real time? But I think what I would say is maybe if he gets into a training camp to where he has an opportunity to practice, then even if he comes in as a backup, he has an opportunity to play and made us and wait his time and probably get back in and show, okay, I am still this dude. Sound like Michael Vick. Like Michael Vick sat on benches in during that time frame when he was with Philadelphia. Once he got an opportunity to play, he showed out. He didn't put forth the effort when he was in New York, where he could have parlayed into another playing contract and maybe extension. Didn't learn the playbook, was lost, and didn't have it anymore until he decided, like, it's over. But Cam Newton looks like he still has the possibility to do it. I just think he probably needs to be in somewhere where he can learn the system and have a somewhat of an equal chance to compete. Like I said, same thing that went for Ben. Ben said it was talked about. I guess it would have been just for a year for him to come back and possibly competed with the 49ers. They reached out about it, but of course, I think he was already dialed in on not showing up. What that could have looked like, Ben Roethlisberger as opposed to John Johnson, uh, probably would have been gave us a little more opportunity. Currently, what we are seeing, the Panthers have visited with C.J. Stroud before his pro day. Is this the way in which the Panthers plan to go? Stroud, is he the person, or AR-15? Who is number one? Who is the Panthers' number one pick? It's coming closer. In the April, we get to know exactly who is it going to be. Stroud, Richardson, Young, Levis. Who is it, or is it someone which we're not even looking at? We thought for the longest that certain players, there's been times where we looked at certain players and then someone else get picked up. But I think this one is going to be pretty. I wonder, is it going to be Anthony Richardson, big body quarterback, got some nice speed on him. I wonder, could it be him? Could we see a potential for Richardson to be the number one pick? Another a number one pick in Carolina. What is in the mind? Where are you at, Stanton? What's going on with your squad? Who is going number one? Have you been on the phone with Frank? That remains to be seen. Is there anything else? Let me see. I might have to get up out of here earlier. They keep on banging my line, which means they probably need some. Um, 1 second. I want to make sure I got everything that I wanted to speak about. Oh yeah, we talked about yesterday. We talked about Hightower and his retirement. Um, I don't know. It's coming to the end. I mean, of course, coming to the beginning again. Starting MLB is getting ready to start back up. Coming to the end of basketball with the March Madness coming up. Just 10 games separates the end of the NBA regular season and the start of the play-ins, the playoffs. The draft season is about to come back up. We get ready to see how that's going. The National Military Basketball Tournament is en route coming up. We got yesterday, it was announced it's going down. Be sure to go out and check out the flyer. It's posted on in various areas, in various chat groups, even posted on the First Formation Facebook page. If you're looking to put a team into the AAU men's and women's Battle of the Badges, Battle of the Crest tournament, that is up, you know what I'm saying, with all the information to be able to get in. July 7th to the 9th. It's going down. All the talking, the conversation was, we just want to play. This is the perfect opportunity to get it out there. I guess almost like it was a flag football tournament in Washington State while I was there called Put Up and Shut Up. Or Put Up or Shut Up. To where now you have an opportunity to let the game do the talking. That's the position that they put these players in. I see them talking a lot of going on in these chat rooms and these groups with people trying to link up. It should be a crazy event. I implore anyone that's able to put a team together, i.e. CAC card holders, to get it in. If you're able to still compete at that level, go ahead and get your squad up and go ahead and put it in. Or, hey, it might be a situation. It sounds like the TBT of military basketball. You might have some people that might be willing to put something up to sit up and get them teams in. Host some teams. Never know how that's going to go. So coaches, players, the opportunity. For me, that's going to be it for me today. I got to get to the job that pays me as we wait for my supervisor to come in. So, of course, I stated before, I won't be on here tomorrow. I'll tap in with Bishop and see if he'll be on. But First Formation probably won't go down tomorrow due to appointments as such. But we will be back here Friday. I don't know. Will we have something special for you? Possibly, maybe. Of course, we'll have more NCAA madness talk, men's and women's. Maybe tap in from the NIT, see where we're at currently in the standings in reference to the NBA standings and who's there and who's up. Never know what it'll be up, but I greatly appreciate y'all getting with me over 68 minutes. Ain't bad. I look forward to talking to y'all again on Friday. See what we got in store. Y'all be easy. Enjoy your hump day. It's on the other side of the weekday. So getting ready for the weekend. I'll holler at y'all. Peace. One love. Holla.